Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the LooseCollector's The Crypt MURACO of the West, part of the Great Wolves batch of figures. It's a big werewolf, that's what it is. It's also known as the Grey Werewolf. And so, they have a few different colors. I have the gray and the white one. Should I review them all, or should I just review this one? Because they're basically the same with very, very slight differences. Let me know what you guys think. But I know a lot of people are very interested in these, myself included, because they look pretty darn good. And I'm happy to tell you they are pretty darn good in a lot of ways, but there are a couple key ways that they are not. So you need to be aware of it. So I'm going to do the review as I normally would. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and see if I can save you some money or hurt that wallet because you want to buy it even more. We'll see. So let's go ahead and get them off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we get into the review, I do want to show you my package. It's not as big a package as you might think. Despite the figure being very large, the package is quite, let's say, moderate, reasonable. It's not huge. There's no window or anything. It's just a printed box. The printing is nice. The photos are fine. Hey, there they are. We have the gray one, the brown one, the black one, and the white one. I think I'm going to get all of them because what the heck. This guy has a scratch on his face. This guy has ears that are back like this guy. This guy has ears that are up like this guy. Are there any differences? Maybe his chin's different? I don't know. Maybe the two, like maybe these two are the same and these two are the same. Other than the scratch on the head. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, there you go. Alright, cool packaging, I guess, if you like plain boxes. Okay, so question of the day. Do you like werewolves and things like this? Are you interested in a line like this or not? For me, it's like, yeah, sure, what the heck. If it's good enough and reasonably priced, I'll bite. No pun intended. I intended it. Before we do a height measurement, I want to do a quick comparison because people told me Veteran William is the werewolf figure to get. I did get the white version because it's still available, and I wanted to do a quick comparison with this guy. And it was okay. I mean, I haven't reviewed it yet, but I have messed around with it for review, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's fine. Other than I needed to heat a bunch of the parts to get them to swap out. But anyway, it's a fine werewolf. It is okay. But to compare these two seems unnecessary. They're not really in the same ballpark. If I had to pick just one, this guy wouldn't even be on the radar. It's this guy for sure. I definitely don't need the clothes on this guy. I'll make him a full-on werewolf in my collection. But to compare the two is just like, no way. Totally different style, so it's purely subjective in that sense. But also, I think you're getting more for your money with this guy, even though you don't get the accessories and things, if you're just looking for a werewolf. This, I mean, you can see. Okay, so that's just, it's mostly personal preference there, but some not, because size is a thing. Alright, so I have him standing like this, which I think most people would. I don't think you're going to stretch those legs out any farther than that. So he's about 25 centimeters all the way up, and that's going to make him just about 9 3/4 inches, closer to 10, I guess, probably. Here he is up against Darwin. You can see he's massive, and so I think the price point is justified if the figure doesn't fail. So we'll see if the figure fails in any ways. I think the price point is $100? No, let me check. Yeah, he is $95, and he is popping in and out of availability at Big Bad Toy Store, so if you want to check it out, there will be a link in the description below. I think, the white one should be as well, and then the other two not yet. Okay, so let's get into the aesthetic. First of all, I have to comment on this. He does have exceptionally long arms. I know some people are going to think that looks really weird. Some people are going to like it. It's purely a taste sort of thing. I am in the middle. I don't care either way. It's the way they decided to do it, so I'm fine. There are lots of werewolf examples where they have those really, really long arms. These seem maybe excessive, but I don't mind. It's more dynamic, so what the heck. But yeah, if you said that, you'd be like, probably it'd be accurate because they are too long. Okay, so really long arms, but otherwise the sculpt it's freaking good. They did the big feet, big hands, like it's got the right look for a dramatic, dynamic, exaggerated action figure character type thing. Muscle groups are where they belong. Everybody always likes to tell me, you're talking about comics, not real humans. Yeah, I know, but they still need to have the right muscle groups, but also comic proportions. Like, you have to actually think about these things a little bit. It's not just one thing or the other. So yeah, he has the right muscle groups, but he's a werewolf person, so he can have exaggerated long arms and things like that. I think they handled the forward-facing head, if you want to call it that, the neck that sticks forward for a wolf, with the big burly back thing. Like, I think they handled the overall shape really, really well. And I think that's one of the things that makes this such an appealing figure. They got the mass in the right place. You can see how thick his chest is also, how the shoulders are back. That helps a ton. It's a very appealing figure from a sculpt standpoint. They did a really good job. I mean, maybe they could have added a little bit more fur here and there, but that's, again, purely subjective, so that's not really a complaint. As far as the paint goes, it's a nice matte finish. All around looks really good. Maybe not the most precise thing. You can see there's some shading throughout, but then we have the whites and the grays, and like I said, it's not the most precise thing, but it's definitely enough, and it works since it's fur, and that's okay. I like the way they did the hands and the feet where they turn white, and then we have the black claws. That's pretty cool. The faces are gorgeous. Well, it's just the one per figure. I love the sculpt. That's the way I like my werewolves personally. This, less so. I think this is way, 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 way cooler, and I love the paint on the face. Very, very nicely done. The jaw is articulated. We can talk about that later. That's pretty cool. Am I right that wolves aren't supposed to be like this? Isn't it the bottom teeth that go on the outside? Not that it matters for this figure, because who cares? But just as a side note, anybody know about wolves? I'm pretty sure the bottom teeth are the ones that stick out, and the top teeth don't. Anyway, I mean, from each other, whatever. Okay, doesn't matter. So yeah, head looks really, really good. The body looks really good. Sculpt, paint, everything. I'm very happy with it from an aesthetic standpoint. So I'm gonna go 9 out of 10. Really, really good looking figure. Very fun to own. Just to look at, to handle, all that kind of stuff. Now, as far as accessories go, you might have noticed, I got bamboozled. I have the absolute worst luck when it comes to action figures, guys. Got an extra right hand here and missing a left hand, so hopefully Big Bad Toy Store, because that's where I bought it from, will be able to help me out. I'm sure they will. And then so you get the 2 medium open hands, then you get the 2 fist hands and 2 wide open hands. I love the wide open hands. It's good. I mean, that's all you need. I don't think you need anything else. You've got different hands. He's already got a posable head. I'm happy with it. So 7 out of 10. It's nothing special, but I think it's all you need. Now, here's the thing, guys. This is going to be the issue, I think, for most people. It gives you a little note in the box that says, make sure you heat the figure up if you have a stuck joint. There's lots of stuck joints, and not just a little bit stuck. Like, you need to heat soak this figure like crazy. So he's mostly PVC. In fact, maybe completely PVC with probably nylon. I would say nylon ball pegs. And so the problem is their ball pegs are all faceted and bumpy. And so that's fine. But if you do too much, which they did a lot, I've never seen the facets and the bumpies at the same time. That's interesting. But it's too much. It's causing a problem. And so the problem is you can't move this figure at all unless you heat soak it. And at least for these types of joints. Some of the joints are no problem. But you have to be very careful. It tells you to use hot water. If you're going to use hot water, don't use boiling. You can definitely screw up plastic and paint at high enough temperatures. Should that be up or down? I think we should turn that the other way so that the gray goes up. No? Well, the gray... I guess you could put it either way. I think I actually like it that way more. No, I don't. Anyway, you have to be very, very careful if you're using heat on a figure. You can screw up the plastic, you can screw up the paint. Do not use boiling. I used a hairdryer. It's a lot slower to use a hairdryer, but it's safer because they don't tend to get that hot because they're not trying to burn people's heads. So anyway, the neck ball peg is super, super stiff. It doesn't have a ton of range anyway once you loosen it, but once you get it free, you can move him around, and it'll be good enough. But it's still super tight. And that's the other thing. So even after you heat soak this guy to get the joints to work, a lot of them don't want to work. And maybe they will at this point because I've moved them around enough. We'll see. By the way, like I said, the jaw works very nicely. Some of them, as soon as I was done handling them, they went back to being stuck. So we're going to see how this works now. Shoulders, I didn't have any issue with. I mean, the molds are bumping into each other, and that's causing some resistance there, but I can rotate the shoulder around no problem. The hinge didn't have a problem either. It goes up to almost horizontal. Bicep swivel is fine. No issues there. Double jointed elbow was stiff, but didn't need heating. Yeah, it still doesn't. Okay. So, not the most range. I mean, obviously that's plenty, but it doesn't go all the way because the sculpt is just in the way. But that's fine. I don't care about that. Alright, and for the wrists, it's just a swivel and a hinge. That's all standard. No problem. This joint here, ball pegs in there. They were a nightmare. This is solid PVC, so it took forever to heat. And oh, hey, it did work. Okay, good. Nope, I still can't twist. Well, a little bit. Anyway, it takes a ton of heat. He has really good range in there. PVC and pegs like this is the way I design my figures too. Just not such a heavy facet, guys. That's such a heavy facet that it's causing problems. He doesn't have the absolute most range, even once he's freed up. And maybe if you keep heating him, you can get more. But it's still halfway stuck in there. So be careful, guys. It takes a ton of heat to get this part to work. This part, on the other hand, would probably pop off right now if I tried, but it also needed heat. But he has really good range down there. So if you combine the two joints, he gets good range in the torso. A little bit of a gap there once you lean him back. Just don't lean him back as far. But ultimately, other than the stickiness, the torso is really well done. In fact, it's the way I would have done it. And if that means anything to you, good. If not, well, doesn't matter, I guess. But I like it. And so this is my review. I'm going to say that. They did a good job. But yeah, I can't even twist it right now. So for the ones that, like, once they are able to move like this but won't twist, if you twist as you're moving it, it'll help. Like, lean it forward and back as you twist. But still, you're going to need to keep reheating these guys. Now, this was the first main problem. The second main problem was the hip. These hips are ball sockets in PVC, or ball socket PVC. Oh my gosh, a socket made of PVC around what I think is nylon ball. But you can see how crazy the facets are in there. And this hip did not want to go forward and back. It still doesn't. No, I can't do it. And I've heated it so many times. The only way I could do it was to keep going in and out as I was gently wiggling it. And eventually it clicked. And that allowed me to, yeah, there you go. So that's how I moved it. That's how it came in the package. And very carefully I was able to lift up on it as I was doing this. And hope that I don't shear that off. And it worked. But it's just such a heavy facet that it's a problem. So be very aware. The thigh swivel is fine, by the way. Be very aware that these joints are loose, but they're actually not. They're stuck at the same time because of those heavy facets. So be super careful with that. For the knees, just like the elbows, no problem at all. The knees are good. I mean, they're tight, but they're fine. And tight knees are good on a figure like this so that he can stand well. Same thing down here. It's fairly tight. That's okay. You do get rotation there. And then same thing for the ankle. It's extra tight, but functional. And you get the ankle rocker. So that's all pretty good. Like, other than the stuckness, it's good. The design's good. Execution at the factory is, I mean, it's not like the factory's doing it on their own, but whatever. Yeah, there's problems with the stuckness. The tail, I wish the tail had a little bit more versatility, or maybe a second tail would have been a good accessory. I don't love the way the tail is, but it's whatever. So yeah, his articulation's good, other than the fact that you're going to spend a lot of time heating this guy up and getting him to work and hoping you don't break him. But I think once you do, it'll be okay. This is a problem for sure, this floppiness right here. I don't know how much that's going to be a perpetual problem. Can I bring him forward more? It doesn't want to go. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't feel good at all. This one didn't do that. So I don't know if he's just in a spot where there's like no room for the, or there's extra room for the plastic or what. Okay, so anyway, design-wise, really good articulation. Execution is definitely problematic, so you're going to have to consider that when buying this guy. You have to. Now this guy, I didn't have a problem with his articulation, but swapping out the parts required heat. And he has less range and less articulation in general, so consider that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess if you're not counting the stuckness, his articulation's like a 9 or an 8 at least. But including the stuckness, I don't know, you could take it down a lot. That's very subjective. I don't know. Let's just say 7, I guess. If you get him functional, it's great. But it's a lot of work to do it. And if you are just using hot water, you're basically going to have to just dunk the whole figure, which probably is your best bet. Just don't do it on the stove, because the bottom of the pot will be hot, hotter than the water. And don't use boiling water, or you're going to ruin your figure, potentially. So be super careful with that. But now it's time for the final verdict. On paper, I love this figure. Even in hand, I still do, but having the joint problems is a real big pain in the ass. If you're trying to set up your display or just handle the figure a little bit, you don't want to have to pull out a hairdryer or a pot of water. So that's a problem. I don't know why. I know why. They went with the facets so that the joints were nice and tight, but too much. So, I don't know. I'm going to give it an overall rating of Considering the problem, I want to go 8 out of 10. If he didn't have the stuck joints, 9.5. They're excellent figures, or at least this one is. I assume the other colors are equally good. But yeah, the stuck joint thing is really a real problem, so be aware of it. But otherwise, it's pretty darn cool. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but that's it for me, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.